During the disassembly process, we primarily unscrewed components and desoldered them to expose the inner workings of our appliance. The top and bottom halves of our appliance were connected by ribbon cables. There were some screws that seemed to be glued in, so they were a little harder to remove, but overall we were able to completely disassemble our appliance into its individual parts to further deconstruct.
On the top half of the CD player, we found the laser lens system and the disk drive. The disk drive motor spins at a controlled rate to rotate between 200 and 500 RPM depending on the track. The laser reflecting off the CD's bumps as it spins is analyzed by an optical pickup that detects changes in light. The changes in light caused by the CD are turned into analog signals for the speaker to output. Because the CD has bumps on its surface, the tracking motor is necessary to keep the laser on its spiral track.
There are two speakers in the CD player, both of which have the same parts. The cone and the dust cap move air to produce sound. The spider and the surround, also called the suspension, hold the cap in place while allowing them to move. The magnet and the voice coil interact to convert electrical energy into motion. Finally, the basket, pole, and top plate provide internal support.
The main motherboard consists of many components. Ribbon cables connected the main board to other components of the CD player. For example, ribbon cables connected the main board to the disk drive, power source, laser, speakers, and front display. There is a switch in the top right that controls AM, FM, off, CD, and aux selections. There are two dials in the CD player, one for volume and one for frequency, and they are controlled on the sides of the main board. There is also an aux input in the top left. There are many resistors which reduce current flow, adjust signal levels, and divide voltages. There are also many capacitors which store electrical energy.
The display board featured 6 buttons that did things such as playing and pausing, stopping the music, rewinding, fast forwarding, and repeating. The board also featured a number display with 2 numbers and 2 LEDs that represented the power and the program.
This component was attached to the bottom of the main board. We determined that it was most likely the antenna because we could not find one on the outside of the CD player. We know the antenna was integrated because it has a radio function.
The CD player had 2 power options, either 6 C batteries or an AC power cord, both of which went through an AC to DC power converter and then connected to the main motherboard.
We were originally considering turning our CD player into a game called Bop It or a toy car, but because of the components, we decided we were going to make a tabletop foosball game. We had many components to look through and choose from for our reverse engineering project, and the tabletop foosball game allowed us to utilize the most components from the CD player compared to our other 2 ideas.
The first component we are planning to use is the power source from the CD player. There is an AC input that can be used if we buy an AC cord. There is also a battery powered option. These can be used to power all electronic components and to possibly make it both portable and stationary.
Our next component is a speaker. The CD player has 2 speakers and we are planning on using them to play game music in the background or to play a celebration sound when a team scores. We are interested in attaching the speakers to an Arduino to control the timing of its output.
Our third component is the screen module. The 7-segment display from the module could be used to output the current score of the game. Each pin of the screen controls different segments on the display. Powering different combinations of the pins will output different numbers. We plan on powering and coding for the display using an Arduino. The buttons on the module could be used to increase or decrease volume, turn on or off volume, dispense a ball, and or increase the score of each player. Additionally, the display came with 2 LEDs that could be used to display when the game and the volume are on or off.
Additional components from the CD player that we're considering using include the laser pickup assembly unit, which could be used as a sensor, and the linear bearing, which adjusts the assembly unit's position, which may be used for any mobile parts.